You've probably heard of the 7 habits of highly effective people, right? But what comes next? What happens after you become effective? Well, according to Stephen Covey, the next step is greatness. So today, we're diving into his follow-up work, The 8th Habit, to unpack the one practice that can take us from just being effective to a whole new level of fulfillment and influence. To really get it, let's start by listening to some voices from the modern workplace.
So why do we even need an 8th habit? Well, it starts with listening to sounds like this. This feeling of being completely stuck, totally drained, it might sound painfully familiar. And look, this isn't just about having a bad day at the office. For millions of people, this is a chronic condition.
And then there's this one. You know that feeling? That deep down sense that your unique talents, your creativity, all your potential, it's just being completely overlooked. It's that quiet feeling of knowing you have so much more to give, but you feel like you're not making any real contribution at all.
Or how about this? The feeling of being so controlled, so micromanaged, that it's just soul-crushing. It kills your passion and leads to total boredom, where work just becomes a thing you have to endure. Now, these aren't just a few random complaints. They represent a deep, systemic pain that people are feeling all over the workforce.
And if you think this is all just, anecdotal, it's not. The data tells a pretty shocking story. A massive poll of 23,000 workers revealed something staggering. Only 1 out of every 5 people is actually enthusiastic about their company's goals. That means a full 80%, the vast majority, are not emotionally invested. Just think about that for a second. Think of the incredible waste of human potential that number. So all this discontent, it's clearly pointing to a much bigger systemic problem. And to solve it, we first have to really understand Covey's diagnosis of what's causing it. And the diagnosis is something Covey calls an industrial age hangover. His argument is that the way most organizations are managed today is based on a dangerously outdated model. It's a playbook that was designed for a totally different era, and it's causing huge problems in today's world.
To help us understand how a bad model can cause so much damage, even with good intentions, Covey uses this powerful historical analogy: bloodletting. You see, for centuries, doctors believed the cure for sickness was to just drain the patient's blood. It was standard practice, but it was based on a completely wrong idea of how the human body works.
And this is Covey's core point. He says that many of our modern management practices are a form of organizational bloodletting. Things like micromanagement, top-down control, the old carrot and stick, they're all based on a flawed, incomplete view of what makes people tick. And they end up draining the life, the creativity, and the passion right out of the people we're supposed to be leading. So here's the heart of the problem. It's this outdated paradigm. The industrial age was all about managing things, interchangeable parts on an assembly line. You could control them. But we're not in that age anymore. We're in the knowledge worker age. And you just can't manage a creative, thinking knowledge worker like a thing. You have to lead a whole person. So what does it actually mean to lead a whole person? Well, Covey breaks it down into 4 critical needs. Our body has a need for fair pay. Our mind needs to be used creatively. Our heart needs to be treated with respect, and our spirit needs to contribute to something meaningful. And as you can see, when you neglect any one of these, there's a direct negative consequence. When you ignore these fundamental needs, you basically turn a person back into a thing and pretty much guarantee they'll check out. Okay, so if that's the problem and the diagnosis, what's the cure? This is where the 8th habit comes in. It's actually a really simple 2-part solution. Part 1, find your own voice. And part 2, inspire others to find theirs. The whole journey kicks off with a personal choice. It starts with you, turning inward to find your own unique voice and choosing to live a life of contribution instead of just getting by. Now, finding your voice isn't some abstract, mystical thing. It's about consciously developing and aligning the 4 parts of your nature. It's using your mind to create a vision. It's using your body's discipline to actually execute on that vision. It's tapping into your heart's passion to keep you going, and it's listening to your spirit's conscience to make sure you're on the right track. When you get all 4 of those working together, that's when you find your voice. But here's the thing. Finding your own voice, that's just half the battle. The second part, the part that leads to real greatness, is all about leadership. And I don't mean having a fancy title. It's about making the choice to inspire the people around you to find their voice too.
This brings us to a really brilliant and practical framework. For each of those chronic problems we talked about earlier, there is a specific leadership role that acts as the antidote. So, to fix low trust, you need modeling. To solve the problem of no shared vision, you need pathfinding. To fix misalignment, you need aligning. And to reverse that feeling of disempowerment, the antidote is empowering.
So let's break these 4 rules down. They're super practical. Modeling is just setting a good example, walking the talk. Pathfinding is about creating that shared mission together. Aligning is about building the systems that help everyone stay on course. And empowering is about unleashing people's talent by focusing on results, not micromanaging their methods. The best part? Anyone at any level can step up and exercise these 4 roles. So when you start to really practice the 8th habit, it's more than just a new to-do list. It requires a fundamental shift in how you think, a total transformation of your mindset. What you're really doing is shifting from a control model, which is all driven by ego and a scarcity mindset, to a release model. This new model is guided by conscience. It operates from a belief in abundance, and its whole purpose is to empower others to release their potential. Covey uses this fantastic quote from Abraham Lincoln to really drive the point home. True leadership, real greatness, it isn't shown by the authority you have. It's revealed in how you choose to use it. Do you use it to control people, or do you use it to release their potential? And that brings it all back to one final crucial point. You know, next to life itself, our greatest gift is the power to choose. Finding your voice, that's a choice. Inspiring others, that's also a choice. You don't have to wait for your boss or your company to change. You have the power to choose right here, right now. So the only question left is, how will you use your voice?